A packed night tonight. Happy graduation, everybody. Thank you so much all for joining Code Pink all summer long as we turned up the heat in our fight for a free Palestine, for a brighter future for ourselves and for our planet. And as we learn to take action against the war machine in our local communities, we have just concluded the Feminists Resisting Fascism 2025 Summer School Series. We had incredible guests doing deep dives into history of US imperialism, how a war economy touches every part of our lives, the necessity for media literacy and political education, and transnational feminist lessons that we can learn from and take into daily actions for peace. And that is what tonight is all about. Our webinars were sandwiched in between incredible local and national actions for Palestine all summer long. From visuals to congressional disruptions, this political education is so necessary to fuel the actions that are needed to be in direct solidarity with the people of Palestine and all people affected by youth militarism every single day. Thank you especially to our Code Pinkers from all throughout the United States, many who are on this call, for equipping themselves with these histories as movement building techniques that they brought into their own cities, schools, and communities. You are proof that this work is meaningful and that a peace economy is possible and is all around us, happening all the time. I'm going to kick things off and pass it to our amazing keynote speaker, Medea Benjamin. She does not need an introduction. You guys all know her so well, but she is the co-founder of Code Pink. She's in the halls of Congress every single day, in the streets of DC daily, doing exactly what we've been talking about all summer long, being visible for peace and justice. She is also a longtime guest of our summer school. Last year, she joined us with Ann Wright to discuss the history of the solidarity movement to break the siege on Gaza, like the freedom flotillas that we've been seeing all year long. And this year, also with Ann, she unpacked how current US military strategies, surveillance, and domestic policing, like hybrid warfare, economic sanctions, uphold systems of white supremacy and gendered violence, and how feminist resistance can disrupt those patterns of state violence. And we're just so happy to have a teacher like Medea, and no one is better to close out our summer of education and action. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys all love her outfit. She'll do a little check for us, but welcome, Medea.
Hey, thank you so much. I know I'm supposed to be I'm not the student, but I'd rather be the student. And so we like to turn things around anyway. So I want to show you my whole outfit. Free Gaza
Amazing.
there.
So
And,
good.
we like to dress up at Code Pink, so any excuse, and this was a good one. Um, I'm just very honored to be your keynote speaker tonight. And I'll start out. Well, I love the saying, a protest a day keeps the fascist away. A protest a day keeps the fascists away. And of course, living in DC, that's easy because there are so many things to protest. And just when you're deep in one issue, another one erupts. What was supposed to be a lazy August with Congress out of session turned into a very, very active one, not just protesting Gaza, but also the horrific ICE raids. And then suddenly we found ourselves facing militarization of our own city, armored vehicles, National Guard on our street, daily showdowns with an alphabet soup of police and military forces. And of course, the connections are so clear. As we say on the streets in our chants, from DC to Palestine, occupation is a crime. At Free DC rallies, you see keffiyehs everywhere. Just last week, we had a Gaza Flotilla event at the restaurant here called Busboys and Poets, and 1 block away from us was a Free DC rally. People floated between the two, building solidarity. On Palestine, every time we think it can't get worse, it does. Famine, destruction of Gaza City right now, settler terror in the West Bank, the killing of more journalists, and always the question, when will it stop? Of course, the first line of defense is Palestinian resistance. And maybe these Israeli protests, if they keep growing, will force policy shifts. But beyond that, it's up to us. I've been on a number of international calls all week, and the message is the same. Netanyahu's next moves depend on Trump, and Trump will only act if pressured by world leaders and by us, the US public. Unfortunately, we can't pressure Trump directly, but we can pressure Congress, and that's what we've been doing. Even during this recess, chapters of Code Pink around the country have been shaming members who went to Israel on AIPAC junkets. You might not realize that there were about 40 members of Congress, almost evenly divided between Democrats and Republicans, who, in the middle of a genocide, decided it was important for them, instead of being in their districts, to go to Israel. And one thing I have loved over this summer period is the disruption of town halls, which have been epic. I hope you have seen some of them because they really give me, and I'm sure you, a lot of inspiration. And when Congress comes back next week, we have to flood their offices every single day with calls. If you have a friendly representative, push them harder. If you have a bad one, shame them. Use an inside-outside strategy. Like we have been doing in DC, we have a buddy system where every week we send something to our assigned staffer, an article, a report, an idea for legislation. And then there are those of us who bird dog them, embarrass them, make them squirm. And it works. Progress is agonizingly slow, but it's happening. When Bernie Sanders introduced a bill to block weapons sales, 27 senators signed on, the most ever. Representative Delia Ramirez has a bill called Block the Bombs. It already has 37 supporters, and that was during this recess. Some resolutions on humanitarian aid are gaining over 100 co-sponsors. And on the Republican side, you might have seen that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been tweeting away about Gaza, including taking on the administration for canceling humanitarian visas for Palestinian children in dire need of medical treatment. She hammers away on the theme that Americans don't want to fund foreign wars, and she's bringing millions of MAGA voters with her. But Congress, of course, is just one battlefield. We must stay in the streets, protest the corporations that are profiting from genocide, demand truth from the media, stop bad local legislation, defend activists under attack, and stand with the immigrant communities under ICE terror. You studied in your foreign policy sessions this summer. You know the connections between US wars, sanctions, coups that drive people to flee, and then our government cages and deports them. And yes, these are scary, heartbreaking times. But when weren't they? Under Bush, it was lies to sell the Iraq war. And there's not much worse than having a government that feeds you lies to get us into war. Under Obama, the drone wars, and every Tuesday, he would meet with his advisors and come up with a kill list in countries like Pakistan or Yemen or Somalia that we weren't even supposed to be at war with. Under Trump, tearing up the Iran nuclear deal and marching us toward war with a country of 80 million people. Under Biden and now Trump again, it's the genocide in Gaza. We faced horrors before, and each time we fought back. We learned about the lobbies, AIPAC, the weapons industries that thrive on death. We learned how often we were outgunned, how often we lost. But when we won, it was because we built a strong movement. So that's our task: building, inspiring, mobilizing, and being visible. Local networks are our backbone. Global solidarity is our power. Code Pink has always connected struggles across borders. And as you learned this summer, that makes us more than the sum of our parts. Some of you might remember February 15th, 2003, that was in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest protests ever. Those worldwide protests against the Iraq War. The New York Times called us, the global movement, the world's second superpower. Today, that same spirit is alive for Palestine. From Australia to Japan, Ireland to the Netherlands, people are rising up. Our movement pressured nations to back South Africa's case in the International Court of Justice, and 14 countries did. At the Bogota meeting of the Hague Group recently, 30 countries showed up, even knowing that the US would punish them with tariffs, sanctions, and threats. But more and more nations are choosing to stand on the right side of history. And now groups are pushing the UN General Assembly to send a multinational protection force to Gaza and the West Bank, one that cannot be blocked by a US veto in the Security Council. And in Europe right now, as well as in North Africa, dozens of boats are being fitted to again set sail on the flotillas, but this time with activists from over 40 countries. Very exciting, and we will see them on the ocean very soon. So this is what we are part of: local struggle, global struggle, saying loudly and clearly things like China is not our enemy, militarism is, capitalism that sacrifices people for profit is. And against all of this, we carry something stronger. We carry our vision, the vision of peace and justice, the vision that affirms life and the joy of being in community, the vision you had deepened in this course and that you now carry forward. So, graduates, be bold, be creative, be relentless, keep building this movement, keep linking arms with each other and with allies across the globe. Because when the people move forward with conviction and determination, we are unstoppable. Happy graduation.
Thank you, Medea. Thank you so much. If folks want to applause in the chat, applause. Yeah, you can do the emojis. Thank you all so much. We are so grateful to hear your words. And just to culminate with exactly what we need to hear right now, so many of us are in action for Palestine every single day and are in the streets and are just looking for that hope and for how to go forward. And your daily commitments to Palestine, to the people, to the planet show us that our little daily actions for peace are what make those big waves. So thank you so, so much, Medea. All right. So we've heard from so many amazing guests all summer long, and now we want to hear from all of you. We want to hear what were your favorite lessons? What were questions maybe you still had about what you could be doing in this moment, what you could be doing for acts of peace, what you have been doing, what has this inspired you to do? Are you getting involved locally? Are you committing to virtual programming? Are you committing to being in Congress, being with Medea in DC, or being at your own elected officials when they've been on recess? As Medea said, they're coming back. So are you going to be in the halls of Congress in DC with that team? You can either put it in the chat and we'll recite it out loud, or I'm going to remove my spotlight and we'll be able to talk because we haven't been able to we've been so deep in our political education all summer that we haven't been able to. This is being recorded. So just letting folks know if they do want to put it in the chat, I can read it out loud for you. But we want to hear from all of you, and we want to hear how this session and these sessions have inspired you to do your own daily commitments to Palestine and to the people. So if you want to raise your hand, or I know a few folks on the call, so I might pick them out of and ask them for examples. But does anybody want to get us started? I also know Jody's on the call if she wants to speak. There were amazing actions last week out of LA. So if she wants to get us started too, that would be fine. But anyone who wants to.
It would be great to see some hands about what you're doing locally, and also what happened? What did you learn here? How did it educate you? How did it inspire you? Is there something that has happened over this period of time that moved your engagement in a different way? And then how can we share that with more people? So, I see Kathy.
Well, it's kind of exciting in Greenbelt, Labor Day Festival. The parade's happening on Monday, and we have a PG for Palestine marching in the parade, and knows somebody rigged it so that we're marching right in front of Hoyer and Representative Ivy. We're going to be giving out flyers as we walk along, and have lots of signs. We've got like 17 people signed up. I'm trying to push for more, and other people are trying to push. So that's kind of exciting.
That's so exciting, Kathy. Thank you so much for sharing. I dropped in the chat too. If you're not already involved in your local Code Pink chapter, please sign up. Or if there's not one near you, we are ready and able to help you create one of your own. So please sign up on that Peacemaker forum. Jody, I saw you.
Can I make a comment about Glen Ivy? Just because I think it's indicative of what's happening. And Kathy, I know so many of the constituents have been pushing him, and he is one of the APAC darlings who only got his position because of APAC. But he has more recently been speaking out about the starvation, been speaking out about we must do something. And so it's an example of how you see the shift, even among those who got millions of dollars to get their seat through APAC, are now feeling the heat from their constituents. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And I also dropped in the chat our Bought by Zionism website. So if you need flyers for the day of, we have some ready to go for you. So please feel free to use. But Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I just put in the chat a letter to the editor that I got printed with the title. And it's basically a approach from actually people who might think America First is the way to go. I just used that as the title, but I put down that why aren't we not with the Israelis who are getting arrested and beat up in the street to get their relatives back? You know, I mean, they may not love Palestinians, but the fact remains you can still be an Israeli supporter and support Israelis that are not with this ceasefire, you know, wanting the ceasefire to have, knowing that's the only way they're going to see their relatives alive again. And yet here we are just backing up this one criminal and his gang of settler types. I call them Armageddonists. That's my new term. That's exactly what they stand for. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
That's
And
such
you
a
can
great
use that
reminder.
letter any which way you like. If you change it, just put your own name on it. That's all. Thank you.
That's such a great reminder of all the ways that we can be engaged. And online, you know, we always see it like we can be marching online also. It is an audience, it is a place where we can have presence. And just being able to post, you know, truths, post images, like enter where they aren't happening and post them. And a letter to the editor is amazing. I'll try to find, we have a template online at Code Pink that can support you in doing this. And we just had another one from Eleanor in San Francisco this week. She got hers in also. So thinking about, there's the being in the streets, there's the scratching at power, but there's also, it's such a wasteland of truth that, oh, thank you, Grace, put it in the chat here. And we also have a media detox, a violence media detox that you can use to go to your media locally. I know where Medea is. They're going every day to a different media place to disrupt, because they're remembering that the media is driving this violence and this war, and when we can disrupt it, that would be amazing. Steve, before we go to you, Medea, can you talk about what's happening in DC and the approach towards the media there?
Well, there's an amazing group of activists, and we join them whenever we can. They had a camp out. They had an encampment that went on for 3 weeks in front of the building that houses MSNBC and CBS and Fox News, and make lots of noise. It's amazing how much we can get away with. And also did one of the actions with balloons that you would love, Jody, because though it's those big helium balloons, and had them going up with a sign that says "Media lies, Gaza dies," and it was quite remarkable because their office was on, I think it was the 7th floor, so it had to go up all of those floors, and caught almost exactly right the host when she was looking out, and her guest was in that was in the background. And then today it was CNN, and there, as Hazami who is the leader of this group, said, you don't need a lot of people. She had about 20, but she said, you could have 5 people with megaphones and pots and pans and still be making a lot of noise. And we'll be going to AP and Washington Post and all over for a month of really focusing on the media.
Yeah, and we have the campaign against CBS. So if you have any, a CBS that you want to go after near where you live, feel free to reach out to Janine, and we could, help you. 4 locals have already done it in their communities. And there, Grace again. There's Janine's email, and there's the action against CBS. I mean, read about that action, where CBS was just bought by a horrible Zionist. They fired the people that we did the media detox with because they learned, they actually changed, they let some stuff in they shouldn't, they got fired, then there's a new owner, and now they want to buy the free press, which would make CBS worse than Fox. But don't forget, these eyeballs are like already on CBS, one of the biggest networks. So it's kind of like buying eyeballs, which is super frightening. So join us in that campaign. Steve, back to you.
Thank you, Jody. And Medea. Medea, you spoke at a conference we had in Middletown, Connecticut in 2019 before COVID struck. And we had 100 people there at my college. And I'm hoping we can get back to that again. A few things. First of all, I wasn't able to do a whole lot this summer. I was away quite a bit. But in the past, I have been to several of these, and I appreciate the passion and enthusiasm. I'm wondering about maybe getting some help, maybe starting a Code Pink um, group in the state of Connecticut. There are Palestinian groups, and I know also from having been to a lot of rallies that a lot of people who are Jewish like myself know that Zionism is deadly wrong, and that their own commanders have admitted that they're doing the same thing to the Palestinians that the Nazis did to the Jews. And I was in Eastern Europe this summer, and I think I found a link to a family member who was probably killed in Vilnius, Lithuania, in that ghetto. And I also went to Treblinka, which also relates to the idea of never again. And I also wanted to mention I've been going to a lot of the hands off, no kings rallies, but to me, they strike me as kind of very mainstream, and that people don't really maybe understand enough that the US is not only bankrolling, in effect, a Nazi type regime in what should be called the Zionist state, but also in Ukraine and lots of other places. So I'm just kind of wondering, I'm sorry, I'll wrap this up, in terms of um, how do we move indivisible in these types of groups in a more progressive direction? Because I bring my sign about stop the genocide in Gaza, but the vast majority of other signs are stuff like save our democracy, when it's really never been a democracy. So I'm sorry if I took a long
Steve,
time,
no,
but
those are all great comments. First of all,
thank you.
Grace put in the chat where you can reach out, and we have meetings where you can come. We share, we support you. I saw Aaron's on here. Who would be supporting you. So, please reach out and come to one of those meetings. If you're interested, we're here to support you in doing that. But also, we always go to where people are and bring the message, right? We go in front of the cameras and deliver the message. We go where people are. And from No Kings, from when it started, even when it was the Women's March, we bring the message of Palestine to the march. We bring the message of no to NATO to the march. And what we find is a lot of people show up that are really, really curious about what we're bringing. We give them ways to engage and ways to interact and support them in engaging with what they care about most. So please always, and whenever they're calling for a big march, the locals that are part of Code Pink, they're there en masse with message. So, feel free. Thank you for seeing it the right way and for bringing the message. I don't know if there's a next one that we're looking at. I would say the next one we're looking at is Climate Week, Peace and Climate Week. Just say Code Pink got it from Climate Week to Peace and Climate Justice Week. So that comes up in September. I think there'll be a lot of things in New York City, but some things happening around the country. And that's where we bring the message of war is not green. It's the elephant in the room, the greatest contributor to climate change. So that's one of the big kind of NGO mainstream gatherings where we can bring the message of how your tax dollars are funding a war on the planet. September 20th. Thanks, Melissa. So we'll have a page up. You can add your local events to it. And again, go back to what was said earlier from Medea. It doesn't take that many people to make a splash, especially if you're in pink and especially if you're in costume like Medea. It's like you kind of take over the space. So remembering it's not the heavy lift. And when you show up, other people want to show up because people want to be engaged. And it just takes the invitation for join us. And I just want to reiterate that. At Code Pink, we create the container for people to be together in the face of violence and war. And we try to make it super easy so that you can do it locally. So you can build a vigil or something that's working on a BDS target or, it's amazing. I know whenever I do it, it's like people want to be engaged, but they need the invitation and the place to come together. And that's what we try to offer. So Steve, I hope you will do something in Connecticut. That would be awesome. Kathy.
Can I add that when we go to these places, like whether it's the Pride March or the No Kings, we get such incredible positive response from people. And you find that the people who come to these things are more progressive than the people who put them on, because the people putting them on tend to be close to Democratic Party or they don't want to offend any of their donors. But that's not what the people on the street are like. And so I hope other people are finding that same kind of response. I mean, people will hug and kiss and cry when they see the keffiyehs and the pro-Palestine message at all of these things.
Thank you, Medea.
Yeah.
I think Steve, and then
How we are greeted is really beautiful. Because people do want to engage. So just remember that you're helping to serve the need to build the movement when you show up. Kathy.
Hey, hi, my camera's broken, so I can't put on a video, but thank you for doing this and thank you for opening it up to reflection because that helps sharing ideas. And I went down up to DC twice this past spring to do lobbying with the Code Pink crew, and I believe that's extremely important. But when I got back, I live in a small community and I had been putting up signs all over the community for the last 2 years, posters and banners and, everywhere. I can't stay still about it. But I was inspired by one day in Washington, D.C., just before I left, that I saw this man, and you probably know his name, but I forgot, that he was standing on a street corner by himself with a sign for Palestine. And it knocked me out of my laziness to say, I'm going back and I'm going to have a picket, even if I'm just standing there alone. And I needed that push. I cannot emphasize enough how much each of us are a model, that we do need the strength from seeing each other. I need it, but sometimes we just need a little bit of modeling and we can go full force ahead, even if it's on our own. So I called a weekly picket and, my people showed up. It's a small core group. We have about a core of 10 that come, and it's been going on for 8 weeks. And we ask people to honk the horns. It's at 4 o'clock when traffic in this little tiny community are getting out of work. And we have reached, hundreds, maybe thousands of people. And then I want to say that then there was a very challenging thing that happened a few days ago. Somebody went to our town plaza and with graffiti wrote on the wall, Palestina Libre, which means Free Palestine. And then they said, FUCK Trump. And they put a swastika sign and they put an X through it. And so this was somebody who, felt strongly about the fascist state that we live in. And I shared a photo of it, and I suffered the most amazing repercussions where people wanted to claim that I had done this graffiti. And a lot of really conservative people in this little place that think that the protection of this wall on our public plaza was the ultimate thing to stand for. And it was quite painful, the comments that came through. And I tried to learn the lesson because I know the great people in this chat that probably have suffered these kinds of repercussions from their acts, and they're probably much tougher than I am. But I'm building my tough skin, my thick skin. And I realized that, yeah, there's a conservative law and order, part of every population, but, we can't let them get us down. We have to stand up and fight for freedom and justice and for peace. And so I got through it, and I still got people saying, no matter what is happening in Vieques, they say, watch out, Kathy will be there with her graffiti. Even though I didn't do it, I'm now the graffiti queen. But I keep going, and I put up a banner a couple of days after that just to show people that I hadn't gotten beaten down by their negative comments. And I put a Free Palestine banner down on our waterfront. And that's what I do to keep it going. And I'm inspired by all of you. And I won't be quiet. I will never be silent. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, you just brought up a whole bunch of things that I want to just raise up. First of all, amazing. From the very first days of Code Pink, we had a vigil outside the White House and women went home and they started the vigil at home. So that you did that is beautiful. That you stand there is beautiful. And I'm sure you get honks of support. And, so that you created the container, like I said, for people to show up too, that really need to show up and be visible for peace. What we say at Code Pink is when that happens, you must be doing something effective, because you never know, somebody who did that might be an infiltrator, might be a way to, throw mud on you that you don't know who did it, but it's not you. And you know what you're doing. Stand in the beauty of what you're doing and the commitment and the non-dehumanization. And you're standing with the Palestinian people. And the fact that you had the courage to go back out and know what you were doing was beautiful is a beautiful modeling. I have to say that recently we are finding a lot of infiltration happening. So we can kind of feel it at Code Pink when it's this orchestrated push to push back, because it's happening across different vigils across the country. I see Melanie here, who, like you, has one once a week on Sunday at the beach at a main thoroughfare, always out there, 10 or 12 people. Those who can show up really feel empowered by it. There you are, Melanie, go Mel. And so, that's just a beautiful thing. I don't know if we put it up on our website yet. It's something maybe you could talk to Jasmine about, getting it up as an event that we could then outreach to other people we have on our list locally to help you build it and make a social media tool for you, or, helping you actually grow what you have already started. So again, Grace is amazing. Put Jasmine's email in there because the local organizers are there to support local engagement. So thank you for bringing all those pieces up. We have one in LA at the ZioCon in LA, and recently we've noticed we've been inundated with a lot, and then people come in and they try to disrupt, pretending they're with us, but being, really nasty, and they aren't who we are. And what we found this last Friday was that we all just showed up and we had a piece of paper that actually Jasmine could give you of what we're committed to by being here in this vigil. And anyone that, decides to come, we hope you're committed to those same ideals of peace and for the people of Palestine. And what we watched is the people that might have been the infiltrators didn't show up. People that were like, responding to the attacks by the Zionists actually didn't react. They just stood there peacefully, and we changed the whole culture of what was happening, and we really frustrated those that wanted us to respond, to be reactive instead of be there for peace. So I just want to honor who you are, that you didn't let that crush you, that you showed up anyway, and deep gratitude. I hope we can help support you in growing your weekly vigil.
And deep gratitude for coming to DC twice. And I think you are such a role model. When Kathy came, we helped to find her a place to stay. And if any of you want to come, we'll help you find a place to stay. And she just fit right in. And she did what you don't have to do, but she did, which is put her body on the line and get arrested at a hearing. But Kathy, we love you. And thank you so much for joining us in DC.
Well, I love you all.
Thank you, Kathy.
Hey, Medea, do you want to take that any deeper about like how people can reach out to Olivia, sign up, come, anybody that wants to, and also like that what you learn there, then you can take home?
Yeah, it's a great way for you to actually go deeper with the members of Congress, both your senators and your House member, because ironically, it's easier to talk to their staff in DC than it is locally. And of course, there is the chance that you could actually meet them when they're in a hearing or they're walking down the halls. We've had some good luck with people that actually got to talk to their member of Congress. And it's a great opportunity to be in the halls every day with people who are so devoted to this, and people who are retired, between jobs, taking a day off, taking some sick leave. So it's a great group to be with, and you really do learn a lot by the week in DC. And as Jody said, things that you can take home. So maybe we could put Olivia's info in the chat, and people who want to come to DC, please come and join us.
And also when we were talking about events that are coming up, that we're doing events together across the country in recognition of, the next one is the 31st, which is this Sunday, which is the launch of the Flotilla, the Global Flotilla. And so we have actions around the country where folks are launching some form of a flotilla honoring. We've got one in LA on the ocean. We've got one in Detroit where we're all going to be on the river on Sunday. So if there's anything you want to do locally, there's the link to the page. And that page that Grace has put up, Grace makes these pages every time there's a day where locals are doing things together, like the No King's Day, or like the one that's on the 20th around peace and climate justice. So here's our next one where you can look at what's happening with the flotilla. Medea, maybe you could talk about the flotilla and how long we've been part of it. And we have a code pinker on this flotilla. We have two, actually, one from Pennsylvania and one from DC. Anything you want to share, Medea?
Well, people don't tend to know that this has been going on now for 17 years. And in fact, people who started the original ones just had an event the other night to show these beautiful videos where they actually made it to Gaza. They got there. They said it was one of the most thrilling days of their lives. Now, I've been on several that didn't get out of the port, much less get close to Gaza. But these are so inspiring, and I think the last two have been really a catalyst for this now global effort, which is coming from people who are going to be in Barcelona, people who are going to be in Tunis, and there are dozens of boats. It's quite amazing. It has sparked just this huge interest, and they will We have no idea how the Israelis are going to be able to react to so many boats this time. But I think it's a great tribute to how much people want to do more. The fact that there were tens of thousands, well, I think there were about 15,000 people who applied to be on the boats. There are so many people who really want to go, and there are so few spaces. So we are excited that there are two Code Pink people that will be on the boats, but we're just excited in general that this has grown to such proportions where then there will now be activists from 40 different countries as part of this this new Samud flotilla.
So something you can do is you can join in the hunger strike. We have a way to sign up on the page that Grace posted, and share your videos of why you're doing that in solidarity. Really, for the whole time that the flotilla is out there, there's things you can do locally, add it to your vigil, is raise up both for the courage of these people to do this. It helps brings global eyeballs to the moment of this devastating starvation of Gaza, and it helps people understand what's happening. It's a time to be able to share the story, raise up what's actually happening using this time of the flotilla. So the fast is also a way you can engage. I just want to say something that, to kind of riff off of what Kathy was saying about being out there. Last time the flotilla went out, I did 7 days of the hunger strike. Leslie in Dallas did 67.7 is nothing, but I would stand outside a restaurant and a grocery store every day with my sign that said, I'm fasting for Gaza, and it's day whatever, day 1, day 2, day 3. And just as a single person, people would come up to me and hug me and thank me and tell me how much they miss humanity and like cared about me with my kafia out there. So just a reminder, it just really only takes one person too. And sometimes I would think, does my sign say hug me? That so many people were coming up and hugging me in gratitude. So being visible, all the ways that we can be visible with the messaging matters, because it's, everybody else wants to sweep it under the rug, and being visible matters. And I don't know, Melanie, do you want to say anything? I don't see you on your there we are. Melanie's been doing this for almost 2 years now. Anything you want to say about how you show up every week and what happens and how you've built your community?
Sure, sure. We started, it's going on a year and 3 quarters when we had a national Julian Assange Free Assange rally across the country, and we continued on. Even though they did free Julian Assange, we have continued on. And of course, we're doing ceasefire, hopefully until there is peace and a permanent ceasefire. And we have it every week. We get different people. We have a good core group, like the other young lady was talking about. You get a good bunch of people. And we utilize the code pink. One of the best places for y'all, if you're going to do an event, is go to and put your event up at codepink.org/events. People will come from all over. We get people from all over California that say, oh, well, I was in the area. I drove down from Santa Barbara, or I was driving to San Diego and saw this on the Code Pink events schedule, and I thought I'd stop by. So people come, we stand on this very busy corner. It's very loud, but we have our signs. Right now, we have a gentleman who came all the way in from an hour away in San Bernardino County, and he brings these huge signs that we're able to put up on all 4 corners saying Netanyahu complicit, we must get rid of AIPAC, stop starving children, and it's had a huge effect in the area. So it doesn't take much. It just takes a smile and talking to people, and just get a few of your neighbors together. And we also have one woman who actually raises olives in Lebanon. She's from Lebanon and she's left for a few months. And she sends us texts, telling us, keep going, keep going. And I also wanted to say, when it comes to indivisible, what you need to do is ally with other folks who also are within indivisible. You talk to them, you say to them, listen, people are dying. People understand that. People see that. And even though some of the people are political in nature and oh, that's too radical, it turns out most people agree with the fact that this has gone on too long and too many people are dying. So you can build those bridges and just keep at it. And sometimes you'll get 3 people, other times you'll get 30 people. And we also went up to my congressman's house because we tried to get in to see our buddy Ted Warman Lou, as I call him, because he was raised in the military and he gives a lot of money, gets a lot of money from the military, and he also keeps voting for Israel. So don't think you can't get those things done. It doesn't take a long time, and Code Pink really helps. Believe me, Melissa is fabulous. Just everybody. Locally, we have a gentleman named Ryan who just is the best. He does a lot for us. And we have another woman, Pam, who just does a lot to help. So you have a lot and it's wonderful people too. So keep going, keep doing it, and enjoy.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. So yes, just a reminder that it's not so hard, and it matters to so many people that, can come and be engaged, and also all the honks. I've been out there with Melanie, all the honks and appreciation and people stopping to talk. So back at you, Grace, because you have a lot to tell us about what's coming up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jody, and thank you, Medea, and thank you all of you so much for sharing what you've been doing. I know a lot of what you guys have said you've been doing for years now, but I think that sharing it today at the end of our summer, it just really, I can tell it already inspired so many new people to be doing something else in their community, in their city. So thank you all so much for taking your time to share with us what you're doing and inspiring us. I know in Chicago, we're doing a lot of similar things at women's marches and all of that. So thank you so much. Also, I just wanted to flag Melissa and myself. We've been putting links in the chat about local organizing resources. Melissa has an amazing media guide that Jody talked about too, and our media detox. All of these links that you're getting that you're like, I don't know what to do with them, they're going to be in the follow-up email tomorrow, and they're all over our website. Also, my email, grace@codepink.org. I will send you everything. So you will see all of this again a million times. Don't feel like you get it all right now, but I'm going to close this out. I'm so sad. This has been such an amazing summer. Thank you all so much who joined tonight's graduation, every session of summer school. Again, thank you to Medea, our keynote speaker, Jody Evans, for reminding us that our visibility for Palestine does not stop here in this online space. Everywhere we show up, no matter if we're at a Code Pink action, if we're with our friends, with our family, we must be showing up for our Palestinian community members. And you guys have demonstrated exactly that tonight. So I'm so grateful to be with you, to be sharing your stories. And I have been getting so many emails this past week being like, what am I going to do without summer school? What am I going to do without my Monday nights? In good Code Pink fashion, the education does not stop here. On September 8th, you get a week off, people. We are going to kick off our anti-imperialist campaign action series. We're doing a 2-week deep dive into all of our campaign work here at Code Pink. Webinars, articles, social media series, radio shows. You'll be learning what we're fighting for, how we can win. The goal is to bring our campaigns into a clear focus and leave you with action steps, just like we did tonight, so you can get involved in all of our campaign work: Palestine, China, War is Not Green, divesting from the war machine, local peace economy campaigns that Jody and our wonderful campaigner Marie put on, And you'll get to know all of the campaigners too that are doing it through Code Pink, our local chapters, our working groups. You'll get to know all the organizers behind these movements and discover how each fight is a piece of the same struggle, a world free from war, oppression, and the empire. As I said, it's a 2-week deep dive filled with so much amazing educational resources and action steps, and you must RSVP weekly for each session, and you are going to get even more resources from all of our organizers, from myself, from everybody on our team, and just like tonight, you'll get action steps to be doing those local actions, to be writing the op-eds like we talked about, to be doing everything we can online, in the streets, and in Congress for Palestine. So I'm going to put the entire schedule and the RSVP link in the chat so you have all of it and you can sign up right now. We are so excited to see all of you and to be hearing more of these stories and more of how this programming has inspired you to go out into the streets and act, and how then your acts and your events will inspire us to keep doing this amazing programming. So I just want to say thank you so much again for joining us. I've been here every single Monday night too, and I've just so much enjoyed spending time with all of you. And I'm so excited to jump into this programming in less than a week. So I cannot wait to see you guys Monday, September 8th, 8 p.m. right back here to do even more amazing work with all of you. So thank you so much. Thank you, Medea. Thank you, Jody. Everybody have a beautiful night, and we'll see you soon.